Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to wrap up today with a special selection, which is where one of you tell me exactly what it is I need to check out. Today's comes at us from Tim. Hey Bryan, here to send you a Biffy Clyro song that is among my favorites. It deals with the subject of suicide after the passing of Frightened Rabbit's frontman Scott Hutchinson, who was a close friend to them. Looking forward to your thoughts. Have fun, Tim. All right. I always find that to be kind of comical. The have fun is in the context, presumably, of the music and of listening to it and diving into it. But it also comes right after the song's about suicide. Have fun. Cracks me up. But I understand the gist of it, where it's coming from. Like I said, out of context, so it's a little comical. Let's dive into this then. We have the track Unknown Male 01. Let's see what Biffy Clyro is bringing to the table today.
10, 8, 13, 2, 11, 24, 17, 14.
You think if you call someone, the devil's gonna leave. You think if you write a song and someone else believes.
There's not a strong sense of finality to the chord progression. It just goes. Every chord leads to the next without an ending.
It'll help you to understand this devil never leaves. Step out to the unknown. I'll catch you on the way down. Aim high, look out below. We're on our way together into the unknown.
I don't know if that's a clap or a digital snare hit. It's very crisp and it works fantastic at the end of that da 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 da. Kind of have these little bursts of sound and then an abrupt stop. Creates a nice groove to that.
Land on the final chord. It's the sweetest sound I've
Also
heard.
listening to especially the notes here on the hi-hat,
All that weight is gone. Does it bring you sweet relief?
all of them are different lengths. The same I think was true of the guitar hits earlier. Sounded like a triplet, but they were actually getting faster, slightly.
Step out to the unknown. I'll catch you on the way down. Aim high, look out below. I'll be there with you wherever you go. Jump out to the unknown. I'll catch you on the way down. Hold tight, I won't let go. We're on our way together into the unknown.
Okay, for some reason I thought we were in pop rock world, but now let's bring it.
Innovation, celebration, adoration, give me more, if only for a day. You can fake it, infiltrate it, corporate it, little boy. Sell your baby teeth.
Oh, the little plink into the slide on that fourth one.
Time that we made up our minds. This is insufferable. We can avoid all trouble. Bury your head in the sand all you want. A billion vibrations surround you at once. We're on our way together into the unknown. Deviation, mutilation, self-abasement, water shore for only one more day. Sometimes
More
I grow,
rigid?
sometimes I grow, sometimes I squeak, I can roar.
Into
It will
more
shake your
fluid?
teeth.
Oh, nope, still rigid. So the second time was fluid, and that was it. All the other ones were more rigid, staccato. Beautiful melody on top of the aggressive rock, though. That higher harmony is slick. The octave on this. Dropping off a beat there. This is just the outro, right? Certainly a bit indulgent of an ending there. I probably could have done with maybe half of that, but even then, after he says, be with you until the unknown or whatever, as we moved into that final riff, I really expected him to bring out the that compressed sound that he has at the end of the chorus and repeats that phrase again to create this peak at the final moments of the song and then wrap it up. Instead, I didn't get that emotional height from the vocals, and the guitar riff got really dragged out. So it's kind of the opposite of what I was expecting. I think it still generally works, but I don't know. It's fine without that vocal bit, but I do think that the guitars stay on just a hair bit too long, especially since that's a riff we had heard quite many times already. If it was a brand new riff, yeah, spend some time with it. It obviously has finality energy to it, but it also took us into a couple of sections in the song as well. So that's why I said, this is the ending, right? I still wasn't really sure. On Spotify, I can kind of see how much time we have left, but without bringing up the progress bar in YouTube, which would affect the video itself, and I don't want to mess with that. I didn't really know. I just kind of had to go off of my gut. I was like, has this been about 6 minutes? I don't know. And yeah, that section could have went into something new. It could have ended earlier and they just drug it out. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of that idea. I think it works as an ending. Just, we didn't need as much of it. Very cool track. It ended in a very different place than we started, and I totally get why I was told to have fun with this. I love this song. I'm a little worried to get into the lyrics, although I think it's going to be a bit more of a positive twist on things, more of an optimistic look at this tragedy. But musically, it is a blast. Absolutely love this. It kicks off with couple of minutes, honestly, of very pop rock ideas. Light twinkling guitar work, chords, Light vocals, very pop-esque. It's forward-placed rock delivery as far as the vocals go, but the production on them, the pitch, all of it, it feels very poppy. It's very catchy. The drum work is fun. It has a very light element to it. Not a lot of weight. A lot of focus on cymbals. Don't know why I couldn't think of that word. And interestingly, there's a lot of rhythmic flow here. It is super groovy. Originally, I had kind of picked up more of a funky element to the rhythmic idea, but I think the longer I listen to it, it's prog rock. It isn't just that we have these different groupings of notes, quarter notes into triplets and stuff like that. There's actually a variety of sections where the length of each note changes so subtly. I don't even know how I would notate out the first drum part on this track. It would be consistent of some weird tuplets and probably heavy use of dotted notes. A dot next to a note implies that it is 1.5 times the length. So a quarter note in 4/4 would be 1 beat. A dotted quarter note is 1.5 beats. And tuplets are just different ways to group a set of notes into a lesser number of beats. So like a triplet puts 3 notes into 2 beats or 1 beat, depending on what type of triplet it is. And it just talks about grouping notes into a smaller number of beats. And so, yeah, there'd be a lot of really interesting stuff going on, not harmonically, metrically in the notation to imply what's going on with that drum work. To me, that's something you just end up feeling. I can feel that rhythm. Notating it is a different beast entirely. It is full of subtle shifts. It originally felt like a pretty standard triplet to me, 3 beats or 3 hits over 2 beats. But the more I listened to it, each beat was slightly shorter than the one before it. It still takes up the grouping of a triplet, so it's still 2 beats long, but it's not 3 perfectly symmetrical lengths of notes. And once that clicked, I was like, okay, this is a bit more technical than I anticipated. I was expecting just some pop rock stuff. But then the song kicks it up. And this was when I was surprised the most. The song gets heavy, not metallic, but definitely a hard rock. We bring in these deep, gritty guitar tones, lots of weight to them. It's the gent idea of stick with a single lower note. Granted, I don't think they're dropping their tuning at all. I think this is still standard tuning. But still pick the lowest note you got and play a dirty rhythm on it that just feels groovy and syncopated. And we even have it's not true metric modulation going on here, but it's phrasing modulation, where maybe the first time you play a phrase, it's 4 beats long, and then the second time you play it, it's 3 beats long. So you're starting it on beat 4 of this bar rather than starting it on beat 1 of the next bar. And this has shifted everything ever so slightly, and it creates this antagonism between the backbeat of the song, the core tempo and pulse, and the rhythmic pulse that's going on. If we were, a lot of the times you count, you're going to emphasize beat 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it gives you that pulse, the start of a phrase. Well, when you get off of that and you start your phrase on beat 4, you put that emphasis there in your music, but the pulse of the song is still on that beat 1, and it gets out of sync. And that creates some of the really, I guess awkward would be a way of phrasing it, rhythmic devices in this song, particularly there in that final section, I think it was, or the penultimate section, one of the two, where, you start grooving with it and you're used to having this accent when you bring your head down, and then it's not there, it's missing. The accent when you bring your head up, that feels weird, and it just keeps shifting around, and that's because they're changing their phrasing against the backbeat pulse that's going on. So we have this sonic change The guitars have beefed up. The drums, they're more snare and bass focused than cymbal. They're going for something heavier here. Rhythmically, bit more diverse. We kind of got some spice of some interesting rhythms earlier on the cymbals, but now we're really getting some rhythmic change here. And then it pulls us into the chorus, which lightens up a little bit, but at the end of it, the vocalist has these kind of gritty, almost fry scream elements on the last couple of words in the last two sentences. Really ramps things up a little bit, brings a little bit of grit into there. I don't know if Biffy Clyro typically does harsh vocals, but I believe this vocalist has the chops for it, and they've done the work to learning how to do it and practicing the technique, because that compressed clean we get there at the end it's spot on. Like, he could easily shift that into a post-hardcore fry scream if he wanted to. The basis, the foundation is there. Just got to push further into it rather than stopping halfway like he does. And so what I thought was a pop rock track ends up having all of these more progressive and heavier elements to it. And it really surprised me to find the song moving in that direction. Now, once that surprise had been popped and I was in on this, the rest of the song was less novel, I will say, less surprising. But I do enjoy the ways that we bounce back and forth between these two sides. And it's not even bouncing back and forth between them, because there's a lot of movement between them. And I think this is a really important part of this song, is that when you listen to modern metalcore, right, you go listen to, Octane Radio on Sirius XM, or you just go check out any of the biggest, most popular names in metal right now, you're going to find that you generally have a verse that's a bit lighter and then a chorus that's a bit heavier, or vice versa. Either way, really sharp change between two modes. That's kind of true here. We do have the pop rock section and the heavier hard rock section. But it isn't a switch that gets flipped between them. There is building into them. It's what makes that first time that we go into the heavier, gentler guitar idea not feel as jarring. I use the word surprising rather than disconnected. You could feel the energy pushing in this direction. I had never in a million years would I ever have thought that they would have actually gone that far on this route, but they were certainly, you look at the path you're on, you're like, hey, this path takes us to hard rock. Are you actually going to go that far? I don't think so. Y'all are pretty gentle. You're definitely pop rock, but you're pushing in that direction. So it isn't surprising that they got there. It's surprising that they went there. And that's something I really like about this track. There's almost seems to be a consistent level of direction and movement. From the start, we are building up ideas. We start pretty clearly in 4/4, simple rhythms, catchy melodies, light timbres across the board. Every instrument is lighter. We slowly ramp up intensity of instruments, we ramp up layers, we ramp up rhythmic complexity, we bring the energy up over time. It isn't a surprise that we got to where we were, because we were on that journey all along. Like I said, the surprise was that we actually went all the way there rather than stopping halfway and saying, yeah, that's a pretty good place to end the journey at. But we were always going in that direction. The song's always been building into these hard rock heights, into the more complex writing. The rhythmic devices were there pretty much from the start. Not quite as technical, but still more technical than pop rock typically looks at. The guitars begin to introduce a little bit more of a rhythmic groove rather than an atmospheric idea or a rhythmic idea earlier in the song. They begin planting the seeds so that we can have them bloom into these heavier sections of the song. And the same is true coming back down from them. We don't just jump from these heights and land somewhere lower. We find a path that nicely takes us back there. And eventually, the song finds a way back up. The pacing and the flow of the song are fantastic. And there is, like I said, a constant growth and I guess reduction of layers to help us neatly get to everywhere we need to go. And this idea of making sure that things are fluid and connected doesn't just stop at general pacing and movement through the song either. When we had that guitar solo at minute 3 or 4 or so, it began by starting off with the chord progression and then picking up on some melodic ideas from the guitar riff at the beginning of the song. It isn't cleanly connected smoothly across time, but it does reference something from earlier in the track. The entire thing feels connected regardless of how diverse the peaks and the valleys are. I think this is phenomenally written, and they do a great job of holding your hand and walking you through the journey of this track. Regardless of how wild it gets, you never really feel like you don't understand how we got here or what things are doing or how it relates to anything that came before it. It all just works. And I think that's awesome. So we've talked about vocals, we've talked about instruments, we've talked about structure and composition. I think the last thing I would just need to bring up is atmosphere. I'm still having a tough time catching on to this. It is a multifaceted song as far as emotion is concerned. I don't even know if I can call the hard rock sections angry, but they're certainly heavier, and that tends to have a negative element to it. This runs in stark opposition to the lighter stuff that we hear at the beginning, which, if you listen to the music, is kind of bouncy. There is a strong element of groove harmonically. It isn't necessarily mournful or scary or angry or anything like that, but it isn't joyful either. Despite having a plethora of emotions all throughout the song, they all tend to be a bit more reserved or muted. It feels a bit more natural rather than the heightened emotions that art tends to explore. Utmost fear, creepy terror, and melancholic sorrow, the depths and heights of these emotions. This one feels a bit more closer to neutral, more natural of a feeling. Most people don't fall into absolute depressive spiraling, but they do feel sad. They do feel sorrow and grief. I think that's what this song does best, but it's always mixed too. Like I said, the beginning of the song feels a bit lighter, but does borrow some darker harmonic ideas. The timbre and atmosphere feels lighter, but harmonically it feels a bit darker. And it's this nice mix that creates the multifaceted feeling at the beginning where at least I was thinking, yeah, dude, this is kind of bouncy, kind of, groovy. It's got a nice thing to it. I was, like I said earlier, I was kind of thinking it had a funk angle for a little bit. But I couldn't commit to that. Something in the music felt like it should have been pulling me down. And as we get into the louder, more bombastic sections, they tend to feel a bit happier and brighter despite the heavier instrumentation. The whole song to me feels like an exploration of mixed emotions. Joy, elation, optimism for the future mixed with sorrow and weight and darkness, and trying to find the midpoint between all of this. It's a really well done song, and not only do I think that it is compositionally solid, but it is also sonically right up my alley. I love pop rock, I love hard rock, or even maybe alternative rock might cover this, and it's just is great. I'm gonna have to check out more Biffy Clyro. I know we've heard another track from them, maybe 2, but I'm pretty sure they were on live stream, and I don't recall what they sounded like. So I feel like this is a band I need to dive into. Let me check out some lyrics, and then we're going to wrap this one up. All right. I do believe that this is a song about trying to make the best of life. and living it to its fullest. And part of that is an understanding that we are all in this together, and we need to be there for the people around us all the time. Verse 1 says, you think if you call someone, the devil's going to leave. You think if you write a song and someone else believes. Maybe if you find someone and ask them pretty please, they'll help you to understand this devil never leaves. I believe the devil in this case is a metaphor for depression or anything that would cause you to even contemplate suicide. The very first line, if you think if you call someone, the devil's going to leave. So just, saying, hey, dude, how's your day going? Yeah, just was reaching out, figured I'd see what was up. And you think that that's just magically going to make this depression go away. But as the end of the first verse states, it doesn't. It never goes away. You might be able to push it down or shove it away for a little bit, but it will come back. It's not something that you can just get rid of with a simple phone call. And so this concept of melancholy, of sorrow, of depression, of suicidal tendencies is stated right in the very first verse. Now, I do like how it's disguised a little bit. The devil could represent anything. It's only once you realize the context of the lyrics, why the song was written, that you can get this second layer to the song. But otherwise, it's up for interpretation. That devil can be any sort of temptation. The chorus says, step out to the unknown. I'll catch you on the way down. Aim high, look out below. We're on our way together. Into the unknown. I couldn't help myself, dude. Together into the unknown shows up so often in this song. And it is the first thing I think of is that song from Frozen. Anyways, the idea, like I said, step out into the unknown and I'll catch you. He says, do what you need to do. Go explore the world. Live life. And if you fall, I'm your safety net. He says, aim high. Look out below. Reach for the stars, dude. And if you fall, look down. I'll be there to catch you. Verse 2 is about living your life to the fullest. He says, I'm going to try and right my wrongs before I up and leave, land on the final chord. It's the sweetest sound I've heard. He asks his friend, now that all the weight is gone, does it bring you relief? You're looking down upon the sum of you and me. You get to see your effects in the world around you. Do you find relief now? Not in a condescending way, not in a judgmental way. Dude, was it really worth it? No, he's just saying, I hope that you're in a better place now. I hope you are away from the stress that you had while you were alive. He says, and now you get to look and see how your life rippled out to everyone else. You get to see the joy that you brought, even when you didn't think you did. Even when you didn't think life was worth living, people were still being influenced by you. Verse 3 says, innovate, celebrate, adoration, give me more if only for a day. Just like, live it up. Be great. Make new things. Be happy. Be joyous. Verse 4, though, talks about the low points as well. It says, sometimes I purr, sometimes I growl, sometimes I squeak. I can roar. It'll shake your teeth. Some days are good. Some days are bad. Some days I'm feeling powerful. Other days I feel like a mouse. That's just how life is. We end on the final chorus, once again, saying to step out, aim high, and if you fail, I'll be there to catch you. Yeah, very multifaceted, a strong understanding of humanity, what life is, highs and lows, temptations, fears, joy, happiness. Capturing it all and supporting those around us. I think that's the best part about it. I love it. Wonderful song. I think that lyrically it lines up with a lot of the emotional highs and lows of the music and captures a lot of that multifaceted element that I was hearing in the atmospheric element of the music too. But these are just my thoughts on Biffy Clyro's Unknown Male 01. What'd you think? Did you enjoy this? Did anything stand out to you? You want to correct me on anything? You want to agree with me on anything? Do you have your own perspective on this track? Put all of that and any other thoughts you might have down into the comments section. Above the comments, in the description box, is a link to Linktree. I blanked out for a second. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, ways to submit your own songs, or songs that you'd like me to react to in the future. You can find the Discord link in there if you want to join the community where we chat. It's all in there and more. Go ahead and check it out. Above that, just above that, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I appreciate all three of those. That wraps it up for today, but I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC as usual. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.